What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of More Garage. Now, before we get into the video of obviously what you see behind me is the FD, I want to show you something that's going to be coming up in a next video, but I just want to show you guys what I got so far for the interior of the car, because a lot of these parts are hard to come by and source. Even though Mazda now rebooted a heritage program where they're remaking a lot of parts for this car, right now it's just limited to a bunch of simple clips and like little assemblies and whatnot. So most of for the inside here, we have a new matte BIM for a right-hand drive FD. We have two of the sails that go inside right here on the door, because I'm missing mine on the passenger side. And I have a new passenger window switch, because again, on the passenger side of the FD, this one's broken. The actual holder around here got broken, it's pushed inside. And then we also have the defroster vents right here, which are still in bag, Mazda genuine parts. And all this is coming up in a later video. Now you guys might be asking, why is both the hatch and the hood, well, the hood's not all the way up, but it's popped. What could we be doing in both the front and the rear of the car? And on both sides. Let's just say we're touching each corner of this car when it's not the brakes. Whoop-pow! That's right, we now have Fortune Autos for the FD to get rid of these crappy old Tanes that are on this car and make it a little better. Actually, a lot better. So let's crack into these, see what they look like real quick, and then we can jack up the car. So in typical More Garage fashion, we always cut and open boxes with stuff that we're not supposed to use. So for example, I'm using this tungsten, which is okay because it needs to be re-ground down anyway. So I'm not really worried about contaminants. Oh, okay, never mind, but there we go. Let's get that open here. Whew, this is a well taped up boy. Let's get this up. And once it's open is always when the glorious stuff comes. We got all the tools and whatnot right here. Just pause that here for a second. This doesn't need to be going. And we have the certificate of assembly here. Looks like the spanner punctured through the side and over here. Let's go ahead and open this up, explore what fun things this gives us. Alright, so welcome to Team Fortune Auto. Always a cool one. The certificate of assembly, quality inspection, final quality inspection, signed, serial number. And it has the spring rates right here of the suspension, obviously. We have some stickers. You can never go wrong with stickers. Each one of these, I'm guessing, is about, they feel about 9 horsepower. Yeah, it's about 9 horsepower right there. Then we have 2 mounting brackets, a Allen key, and the 2 spanners that we use to lock everything in place, which is pretty much, besides the socket, which they actually come with these with everything, but is the tools that we require. Now for the good stuff. Oh yeah, so this one, I believe, 3 bolts. So this is a front. Always well packaged. Oh man, look at that girl. This is for the front right. Look at that. Freaking Fortune Autos, man. This is so pretty. Hand built. Love it. Oh, it looks like it's already got a scratch in the coat right there, but you know, people aren't really gonna see these, so yep. All right, so now we actually know what those look like. Next project, jacking the car up. So now that the FD is completely jacked up and the wheels are off and everything, the next step is to obviously drop the old suspension on front and rear and then install the new suspension. So I went ahead also, before I jacked up the car, I went around and I measured all 4 corners and how high they were off the ground, obviously when the car was sitting. And they were all just completely whack. Because I did notice, ever since I got this car, that the driver's side did tilt a little bit down. So as you open up your new suspension, one of the first things you always want to do is make sure that the preload is set. Now these came with 0 preload. You can spin everything right here, and that's easy to do with the Allen wrench that just sticks in right there. And normally what they say is to preload it about 5 millimeters. So that's usually about a turn and a half on these. Another good way to measure, some places have it, is that it's literally the thickness of the spanner here. And these seem a little bit thick, but that might be accurate. So
Spanner.
Yeah,
Spanner.
this is a spanner.
Are you in Top Gear? Are we in London?
No, this is actually a spanner.
It's a coilover wrench.
Coilover spanner. What if the UK and the Australian people are watching? This is a spanner.
I'm gonna dip this whole car in PB Blaster.
Peanut butter and jelly blaster.
If you have a car you may have imported from the ocean nation of Japan, you might find that there is a small amount of rust every corner of the vehicle. Now the chassis on this car is not rusted, but all the nuts and bolts look like they're one piece.
Not the anime.
One piece!
So in case you're wondering, how do you set the preload? First thing you do is you find the bolt with the Allen head in it. Take your Allen key, make sure that it is loose, which this one is already loosened, and you want to see how much this already wiggles in here, which it does not. However, you can still spin the spring, so it is loose. And all you do is simply take, as Billy likes to call, the suspension wrench, spanner.
Coilover wrench.
Coilover wrench, spanner, slash half moon, slash whatever.
We're not in London.
Not with that attitude. First thing I do is I just look and see, keep an eye on the thread that I'm at. It needs to come up this high, which if you look here is 3 threads. And that's just for this suspension. You know, some obviously brands have different thread pitch and everything like that. But I know it is 3 turns. So I hook this onto the correct teeth and spin it, which is half, and so on until it is completely preloaded. Now let's talk a little bit about why Fortunatos instead of the other big names like KW or BC or Max Speeding Rod. Well, if you guys have been around long enough, you know that we tried Max Speeding Rods on the FC. They're terrible. They felt good for maybe about 5 minutes before they just completely disintegrated and ate themselves. Then we switched to Fortunatos, and Fortunatos, in a lot of people's opinions, not just mine, while not being maybe like KW, racing, pedigree, all that stuff, they are by far and away the best bang for your buck suspension you can ever get. They throw Megan Racing, they throw BC Racing, they throw a whole bunch of ones underneath the water in their valve technology and everything else. And there's a running puppy. Okay, that's a good little video breaker. And they're hand-built, custom-made right here in America, so you're supporting an American company. And on top of that, Well, Billy has them on his FC. He says that they are stiff.
Yeah, they're stiff, streetable, but we don't have the best streets here. But what's nice about that is, yeah, they're stiff, but they're streetable. But you know, if you go to the track, you're going to feel really comfortable and capable. And I have mine on full soft, so.
And it's not like I drive the FD every day as well. And the Daily Driver, which is a Speed 3, has some stiff, terrible, cheap suspension, which is honestly only like $100 less than this Fortunato stuff. And I will never wish that suspension upon my worst enemy, that ISE N1 stuff. So we're going to continue on here. Thomas is already starting to get cracking here on the passenger side on how to remove everything in the rear. It's actually relatively simple, and while Thomas can get low down and not have lots of body pains and he can fit. First thing, obviously, 3 bolts up here. You just remove this little trim piece right here. You can just pull up. 3 there, and 1 bolt or nut on the bolt that goes through to the sway bar. So we're actually working on the other side, but since the sway bar needs to actuate down in sequence and equally, we're gonna have to take this one off to let it move back so we can get this out. So when it comes to the fronts now, we have to remove that upper A-arm. And Thomas, oh, he already removed the bracket that bolts onto the upper A-arm with the brake line. And then we also need to remove the brake line clip, yeah,
I'm trying to do now
from the strut tower.
The other side actually came off without braking. Oh my goodness.
Did it break?
No!
Oh! So with that out of the way, the Ugga Dugga machine makes the comeback.
Yep, to get the 14s off of the upper control arm. Ta-da!
Now that should just fall out as soon as just gotta pull the upper control arm, roll loose. There you go.
There we go.
Out she comes. This old
It's
tetanus
crusty.
infested. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab all 4 pieces of the old suspension and just show you the condition of it. So this is the condition. The rears. And then we have the fronts. See how all this powder coating is all just done. You can't even, the threads are useless. It's all just torn up and separated right here. Yeah, these are toast.
So now Jeff's down here getting his hands dirty. Gonna pop this girl back on, or rather put it on for the first time, right?
Yep. I mean, this one hasn't been on yet. But we ran into some difficulties on doing the, I guess the technically passenger side of this car. And when we were trying to put this into the lower control arm, it actually, this was too big by 1 millimeter on each side right here. So this overall was 50, and into the knuckle there it was 48 millimeters. And so what we had to do was literally jerry rig a belt sander into a vice grip to hold it level, and shave 1 millimeter off each side. And that's just it. When it comes to something like a metal tubing like this, you can't really work around a millimeter. It's not possible. And so we had to grind it down, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, that's a calibration issue that. But it's not going to really affect, you know, the overall quality of the suspension or whatnot, unless it makes a little jingle noise under there. But Yep, it's literally just working backwards of how we disassembled it to reassemble it. So this has to go through the upper A arm.
It's the cringiest part because it's all brand new powder coated and you gotta scrape it through there.
Yeah, you're scraping it all over the place. And then once it kind of gets in here, you need to put on this bracket that they supplied you with for the brake line. And kind of just get it roughly in place. And then once everything kind of works itself in magically, and get the knuckle perfect. Knuckles in, big bolt. Was on this side? No, it was the other side, right?
No, it should go bolt through the front to the back.
Front? Okay. Just because the angle of everything here.
Yeah, it slipped out.
Yeah, so.
I'm gonna give him a hand here, 2-man job, and the lighting's not that great, and then we'll show you the
Yeah, kind of working a blank, like black zone right here. Can't see anything.
Okay, she's in there. Let me scooch down here and get these little condoms put on here so it looks nice. Jeff's down there getting ready to adjust the height. What are your calculations for ride height?
Well, the other one is at 3 5/8, and I know it's gonna be super high. It's got the monster truck FD, but it's just a good base to figure out where we're at, and then easy to drop from there. But the preload on this one is a little wrong, so I need to undo it here and mail's here. Reset the preload because you can just move the spring.
Oh yeah.
So either this one was probably super loose compared to the other ones, and so even though I did 3 rotations, it still was too loose.
All right, we'll take care of that real quick. Front's all squared away. Monster truck height. Just doing back ones.
This seems really high, and I can't get it. There we go.
There we go.
It's a little lower. Here, let's just do this. I'm not sure how what the height setting is. Yes, Lou?
2 3/4. Dog got in the garage. That's okay.
All right, all 4 corners are done, and we're just getting ready to drop the car here. Just got the wheels back on as well, obviously. Now, I thought that I dropped the front when we set up here a little bit, but it's almost running like how it was before on the ground. So hopefully these don't drop too much.
Okay, front going down. I'm not trying to be this dramatic, I just don't want to drop it too fast.
Nope, 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 nope.
Jack stuck.
I felt you, man. I kicked you.
Of truth.
Down all the way.
Okay, well the jack's not stuck. That's a good start.
No, I think that's pretty good height. That's about where it was.
Yeah, I mean, for stance boys, you're gonna be freaking out, but we like to actually drive our cars.
Yeah, we ain't know. And if you guys are in the San Diego area, you know that our roads are probably the worst in the country, besides a dirt or cobble road.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, let's try the backs and see if we got a good setup, and then you can finally test drive it.
Wow, I'm excited to test drive it.
Mm-hmm.
What? Good God.
At least these wheels don't turn.
Dude, once again, I can't leave the driveway.
Oh, right. Your whole titanium exhaust will be off.
Yeah.
Well, it's going back in the air again.
Yeah. Butts up.
Butts up.
Thumbs up, butts up.
Take number
15?
It's only 3.
17?
Feels like more.
It does. Okay. I lowered the backs 1.5 inches. Hopefully this will be good. So I'm gonna hand the camera to Billy while he plays magic, but just needs to hold it still. And lower the rear. After I do some quick editing because I gotta pull up. Good luck, have fun, boys. Oh, I just sent your brother.
Yep.
We just yeeted her.
Looks about right though.
Yeah, that looks a lot better. So with that, we'll catch you in the next one. Okay. All right, so hopefully you guys can see me really well. It is now time to test the Fortunatos on this car. And so far I've just moved the car a little bit and they are absolutely amazing. They're quiet, and which is really, really nice because the old suspension was definitely blown. It had a lot of rattles and creaks, especially on the driver's side rear. And since that is gone, it's so nice. And it takes just the smallest little things around my neighborhood so well. These bumps and little rain gutters and whatnot without any issues at all. Set off car alarm. That's cool. And so far, totally worth the money. Totally changed the dynamic of the car. It is honestly the softest riding car that I have. But then again, the Z and the Speed 3 both ride really, really stiff. So far, this has been the suspension to get, especially with this price point. You can't beat it. Just like that, the suspension has been installed and we have fine-tuned it here, adjusted the preload just a little bit, as well as the ride height. The car feels amazing. This is by far and away the best suspension you can buy for your FD, especially if you plan on keeping it a street car. So if you guys are interested in this suspension, hit up Fortunato. It is their Fortunato 500 series with 10K in the front, 8K in the rear with the suspension setting, and I have them set on damping setting number 2. And the car is absolutely amazing. It rides so good. It rides better than new cars. If you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up and always consider subscribing. If you have anything you want to say or add, go ahead and comment down below. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.